Hello, my name is Adam Draffin, and I was raised in a Christian home. And one night when we were having Bible study as a family, when I was 7 years old, I thought I prayed to receive Christ. I walked the aisle, I became baptized. And it wasn't until a few years later, when I was 10 years old, that I was convicted one night heavily that I wasn't a Christian. I had not sincerely become a Christian. I didn't understand what I was doing at the time. And so from that point forward, I followed Christ as a believer. And at that time, it did not occur to me that my baptism was on the wrong side of my salvation. Because as a church, we believe that the Bible tells us that baptism is something that we are supposed to do knowingly as followers of Christ as an act of obedience to God after we become a believer. And that's not something that I had done. And so I went through over a decade until now, not really understanding that my baptism was on the wrong side of my salvation. It's something that I probably knew in the back of my head, but it's not something I ever acted on. And when the Life Action Summit came to our church, I was heavily convicted about the fact that in my life I had a tendency not to be immediately obedient to the things that God was telling me to do. And I looked in my life and I'd seen how more fulfilled I would be, how much easier God could use me throughout my life if I'd just been immediately obedient in everything He was told me to do. So I surrendered that to God, and He convicted me of several things, but He also convicted me that I should do the math, and that I should realize that the baptism that I had when I was 7 years old was not one that I did as a believer, and I had never followed the Lord in baptism. And so that's why I'm here today. Faithfully follow God into the water for the first time and the only time as a true believer in Jesus.
That's just one of the many lives that have been changed by God through a relationship with Jesus at Bay West Church. If you aren't connected with a church or with Jesus, we'd love to have you be a part of our church this Easter. For our elementary kids, we're going to have local Christian illusionist Steve Hart come in and give a message about Christ. And then immediately after the service, we're going to have a big Easter egg hunt with about 2,000 Easter eggs, so everybody takes plenty home. If you have a hard time believing in God, or you have a friend that does, the series that I'm starting that day is perfect for you. It's called I Want to Believe But. We'll be dealing with a lot of the hard questions that challenges every one of us when we try to believe in God. I hope to see you there, 11 a.m., 100 Emerson Drive, Northwest Palm Bay, Florida.